So welcome back to all. Now we have one session on this motivational speech. As it is compulsory from the AICTE side, we should have one yoga class or motivational session. So let us start the session. We have with us Rakhi Bhattacharya. So let me start the session. Now 11:30. Yes. So another day, another week. But who really understand the time anymore? The number of cases and days are steadily rising, but so is the frustration and anxiety from being locked up at home for such an extended time, even it's for our own home. After all, the end of lockdown will be hardly means the threat of the coronavirus has been put to bed once and for all. The topic mind, body, soul connection was incorporated particularly due to the new realities we all are we all are into due to the COVID pandemic, such as being confined to homes, as most of us are working from home, lack of physical contact with friends and colleagues, family members. Temporarily, many of us are unemployment, and our children are doing online classes, having fear to coronavirus and a feeling to uncertainty, which puts a lot of stress of us. Rakhi Bhattacharya is our facilitator for this session. She has a management background and is a passionate development professional, having spent over 2 decades in the non-profit sector and has a specialized training experience on leadership, motivation, visionizing, and team building, and has personal experience exploring and applying the MBS connection, that is a mind, body, and soul connection, is managing herself life as she undergoes her personal journey, exploring spiritual dimension of the holistic well-being. So now I welcome once again to Rakhi Bhattacharya. Ma'am, your whole session is yours now. I can start. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Das. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's 11:30, and I'm firstly my big thanks to Professor Das, because I think he sort of told me that in all this the session, the FDP which is happening, which is on artificial intelligence, which is very, very, this is something very alien to me, honestly, because I am from management background. I really have no knowledge on this artificial intelligence. I do have heard a lot of stuff, but don't know that. But I think it's a very appropriate planning on the part of Professor Das, who's coordinating this whole FDP training. I understand artificial intelligence is all about simulation of the human intelligence in machines. But the topic I am going to touch on, sort of discuss with you, is really little bit of, not little, actually quite different than this whole thing. Here we really have to invest a lot on the human, our own self, sort of really detaching ourselves. So I have a, I wish I had the opportunity to sort of ask all of you your names that I normally do while doing a training session, because this is a new reality. We have to connect with each other virtually, so I understand. I cannot ask you because we don't have the liberty of time. But really, hello everyone, and I wish all of you are, of course, safe, I'm sure. And today you are here, and all of you remain safe. It's a new reality. We really have to sort of follow certain rules, and we know, how to navigate through this pandemic. That said, I really have a sort of I wish I think I can ask, and I just a couple of response. What do you mean by stress? Anybody has any, like, sort of, even you can put it on one or two. What do you understand by stress? Because the whole topic is about how do you manage stress through mind, body, soul, and some would say spirit connection. Anybody?
It's like overburden.
Okay, great. Anybody else? One or two? A couple of responses? All right. It's okay because I know everybody. I'm sure you guys are very intelligent and you guys are like, you know, I know you have super brains and you would definitely have response. But let's okay. Hello. Okay. So let's go to the topic actually, and I have a presentation.
Yes, I've already given permission. You can share now.
Okay. All right. I do not know what this picture, I mean, how does it, you know, sort of, how can you relate to it? Does it resonate with everyone? Probably. I chose this picture because it really talks about, you know, it gives you a feeling of, you know, being peace.
Ma'am, can you put in full screen mode? Can you put this one in full screen mode?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Right hand side one glass like image will be there.
Right, right. I'm a bit tech challenged, so you really have to help me. Right hand, there's a, where is, I can't see. I see
In the bottom one glass like picture will be there. You can click there. It will be.
Right, right. Yes. Is it okay now?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I'm fast, please do, you know, because I'm a passionate, I'm passionate about this session. I could be fast because of the time, but do let me, you know, let me know when I'm going faster. So it talks about, if you see, you know, so it's really talks about the harmony. What is this mind, body, soul connection, which we'll go in a minute, dive deep into. So it's rhythm, you know, it's a music of the body, melody of the mind, and the harmony of the soul. These are big, heavy loaded words. You don't have to worry about it, but it's really, so it gives you a sort of feeling that, you know, it's a harmony. The life is really a music symphony. So it's really integration of the body, the mind, and the spirit, which I think it's a very, you know, abstract aspect, which we really have to feel, you know. So this is the session, and these are not fun actually, but if you look at the latest, more stress actually, 80% of stress and 20% of water. So that's sort of, so we've actually, we are all, there's so much of, you know, there's a job, there's family to take care of, there's a recession. I mean, current times is adding to the ooze also, but it's been there. I mean, everybody is like, there's a race going on, right? We all, human beings, we want to sort of come over, you know, sort of, compete with our neighbors, compete with, you know, our colleagues, maybe at one time our peers, and, you know, so it's a lot of things. It says a lot of things. So it's really alarming, 80% of stress. This is a funny thing, you know. So the giraffe says it's stress. So the you know, the stripes are, you know, getting off his or her body. So some pictures just about how stress could be, you know. Okay, so I think I got an answer. The overburdening stress, what is it? Let's go. Let's go little fundamental into.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking sometimes. So just tell slowly so that we can hear.
Okay, how does one? I want to. So the word stress was actually Mr. Hans Selye. He's a Canadian and he's called the founder of stress. So the word stress was first of stress is actually, as you call, he did endocrinologist in the year 1956. He said that he explained it in his term was that the pressure which a human being or a person experiences due to the demands, you know, like of a situation, like, you know, and these are called stressors or stimuli, you know, stimuli. So he explained. So he's the founder, Mr. Hans Selye. And actually stress is actually, oh yeah, it is of course overburdening, and, you know, you can say it, but what it really does to us is that it's a process of adjusting or dealing with that circumstance that sort of disrupts our physical and psychological functioning. So I mean, all of us experience in a daily life. So if there's an exam, I can relate very much to a lot of stress in my life, and I'm sure you do too. When we were growing up, when there's an exam, when we have to do a public speaking speaking, there's so many things.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking
We have
continuously.
to write an exam or job interviews, with somebody, and you're facing them on the sort of, let's say, office. Is it okay now? Better? Is it better now?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all of us, I want to go back. Yeah. So all of us, okay. So yeah. So all of us have faced this. Like we are in a circumstance where we are trying to adjust because certain event I would say has disrupted our psychological and physiological functioning. So we are sort of adjusting. How do we react to this situation? An exam, for example. We have a lot of things going on in our mind. Will I fare well? Will I be able to write all the answers well? What will be the result? So we sort of go not only in the present, but we are in the future. What will my dad say? What will I get a job? All those stuff. So it's really, if you sort of sum it up, it's a physical, mental, and emotional fear that causes a lot of mental stress, tension. We are in a tension. We are pulled here and there, and so that is what is if you define. Now I would not go. I have not because we really have to understand what this stress is. Not a lot of fundamental. I would not give a lot of literature on that, but definitely it's very important to know what are the different types of stress. So we have actually two types of stress. One is a eustress, which is really positive. It's a positive stress. You should have that stress, which it's a very short-term period. It's not a long-term period. Improves performance. It's exciting and it's fun, and it's perceived as within our coping abilities, to ability to sort of overcome or sort of adjust to it. Can anybody give an example of that? What's a eustress? I mean, it could be relative. What is a eustress for me may be different. Anybody in your experience can give an example. You can even write on the chat box. Yeah, no, okay. For me, for example, a new stress would be, like let's say meeting a new person. Yeah, sometimes it could be not a new stress for some people. How do you? So it depends on the personality. Actually, I would like to know from the person, to connect with that person, understand what that person, sort of what can I learn from him. So actually, him or her. So and so that I can get some of those learnings and implement. I mean, this is an example, not a very direct example, but definitely that's an eustress for me. Even doing a training session, sometimes is fun and exciting. Sort of you can connect, something like that. Eustress. This is most of us. I think I'm not audible, Professor Das. Am I audible?
Yes, audible,
Okay.
but voice is breaking as due to the, I think, low bandwidth. It's breaking sometimes. Okay. You can continue.
Okay, sorry. So this stress, which most of us have really actually faced and have faced, particularly during the pandemic, as Professor Das was explaining in the introductory, in his address, that a lot of anxiety. Currently, for the last 6 months, I would say, we are into all the whole global world. Everybody is really having some, a lot of anxiety. Not some, actually, a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of job losses we hear about. We've seen in India the migrants, how they have sort of, I mean, and nothing can be more telling than them. We saw lots of people returning, our own selves. Like how our jobs, whether they'll stay or not, whether there'll be job cut, how do I, and all these other things in the family. I mean, a lot of other things happening. Somebody's contracting the, COVID. There's a fear. If I go out, can I? So it's really, all that. So what happens is that it causes a lot of anxiety and concern. It's a short and long term. I would say this is a long term. The pandemic is going to be a long term because, we have to wear the mask, we have to wash our hands and all those things, as we understand from doctors, from the World Health Organization. And of course, we know it's a new normal. it gives a lot of unpleasant feeling, you're not feeling pleasant, you're not feeling happy about it. It sort of is decreasing performance. In that sense, I would not say the pandemic, if I give an example of the pandemic, it decreased the performance, because I think I've seen, in family who are working online, I mean, they have not worked from home. I think it's a lot of work. I know most of you have been working a lot, maybe more hours, and I mean, you really don't get breaks, and I mean, the performance has increased. So I cannot give you that an example of, causing distress. And there's a lot of physical and mental problems, because once you have stress, it has a lot of hormonal impact, and you get a lot of physical and mental problems. You get sick, you are depressed, all those things. And this is something perceived as outside of our ability to cope. You feel that, you're not able to cope with it. So it's really negative. The eustress is positive, the distress is negative.
Ma'am, not audible. Yes, just tell slowly. Due to low bandwidth, we cannot hear actually. Breaking.
I don't want to give a lot of literature, but really internal, which really originates from your basically depression, the feeling of, being sort of. Hello? Okay.
Yes,
so it's really originating within us, depressed, and it's okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, the disease, like the disease, I can give you an example, cancer, something deadly, like disease of cancer, or anything like fatal type, terminal, that can be internal, which originates within, and it's nothing to do with the external world. The external is, of course, a lot of things, a lot of us as experience. When you are like moving to a new city or a location, or even if you have a loved one dying in your family, loved one has a fatal disease, a lot of other examples I've just chosen two. Even sometimes I feel external is, it depends, again, it's relative, how a person sort of adjusts with the new sort of setting, like even going to a new job, workplace, new job. How, if you're not very sociable, how do I say, how do I meet, what is expected for me to do? So all those stuff is external, which has nothing to do with internal, external situations. Then the developmental, which all of us have faced. For example, when we were growing up as a child, going to a school.
Ma'am, one request there.
Sorry, all
Hello?
those things.
Hello? Sorry, ma'am.
Unpleasant. Teacher has scolded.
Hello? Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello? Yes. Can you just off your video so that bandwidth will be more and we can hear you properly? Just
That's a very good suggestion. That's a good suggestion.
Off your video only video.
Right.
There is one icon is there. Video stop video.
Yeah, I have to
click on the stop video. On bottom.
Wait, just a moment.
Bottom of the screen. From left to right. No. Just off your video.
Yeah, I'm looking at it actually. Okay.
Bottom of the screen. Bottom of the screen. After mute, there is one icon stop video.
I see the mute.
After that, one icon is there.
I cannot see. I have to maximize and see it because I don't see where it is now.
Okay. You can continue.
Screen share. Okay, here, maybe here. I'll just. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion.
You just.
Now it's okay.
Yes, it's okay, but for your PPT should be full screen. So at the right hand side, one glass like button is there.
Right.
Make it full screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's okay now. You can continue.
The voice.
Yes.
Do I have to go back to my session? Okay, I want to check how is everyone doing. I know I have been fast because I'm mindful of the time, but I do not know. Please let me know. Stop me.
It's okay now.
If I'm going very fast.
Yes.
Okay. So we've heard about the sources of stress. 4 major. People are. I mean, there could be many, but I've sort of clubbed them into 4. One is internal, which is within the body. Just to reiterate, external, which is external to your not to your body, but of course somebody dying, or you're moving to a place, or as I give an example of even joining a new workplace or a job. Developmental, all of us have faced, which is very predictable. It has happened with all of us actually, most of us, I would say, not all of us. Not all kids are like that. If I give an example, when we were growing up, going to a school, so it's really disrupting. We were with the mother, we were playing around, and suddenly at 5 we have to join a school. That kind of situation. Of course, job, even new place, that's also development, I would say, because it's a job, but still some of us, not all of us, sort of have this, a kind of fright, like, oh, will I be able to adjust and all that? What is expected of me? There's another big sort of source, which is situational, which is unpredictable. And again, most of us would have to face or would have faced, which is about death of a family member. And during the COVID time, it's very, it's really, I have seen many of my friends losing their dad or mom, sort of things. And we know it was very uncertain. Another example which is common is, and just happening, of course, divorce could be an example, which is sort of disrupting, your life, in many ways, but you have to adjust. So 4 basically sources. Now, what are the indicators of stress? What are indicators? Symptoms basically, what happens? Again, there are 5, I would say. I've clubbed them to 5. One is the physiological, what happens on your body, So when you're stressed, there's a hormonal actually imbalance, and so palpitation of the heart increases, the cardiac input increases, your skin becomes very pale, mouth becomes dry, the pupils dilate, and eyes, And I can give you an example actually from my own life, and it's okay. I remember when I got bought my first car, it's a Maruti 800 car many years ago, and I was not sure of driving. I took a lesson in driving, but I was not very sure. This is a very practical, real example, and I was not sure whether there was, and it was a lot of money those days, for me actually. I was not earning a lot of money. And somebody told me, the driver who was actually teaching me, was a 15 days course, and he said, oh, and I was not very.
Ma'am, again you are not audible. Hello.
When the driving lesson finished, I was not very confident, and I had this 2 days after the training session to buy. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue. You can continue. Now? Yes.
I think probably because of the internet connection. So yeah. So what happened is, like the driver told me, he sort of said me, okay, so you'll not be able to, I think the way you're driving, he just gave me this feedback. I think you would need a lot of people. You need me to, somebody or maybe another trainer to sit for at least a month, because, it so happened that there was this guy who sort of did a thing, and he was on his own, and he sort of, did a reverse, when he was driving, he just just drove over a lady, and the neighbor, and there was a lot of he just scared me, and I was this mouth becoming dry. 2 days I was like sort of thinking whether to buy your car. I was so stressed. I just remember this, give an example, and I can be very sure that all those physiological things happen with me on those 2 days. But after that, thanks to my mom and dad, who sort of gave me that confidence.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Kindly tell slowly so that we can understand. Hello.
And the rest is history actually. And psychological, it's something which happens to your mind.
Yeah. Oh. Slowly. Okay. Tell slowly.
So hello.
Yes, ma'am. Tell slowly.
How about now?
Yes. Okay. I think lots of this internet issues are there. That's why she's also facing camera, I think, first time. So let her join again. So we'll finish the session as soon as possible after she's joining, because lots of issues are there. I think she's facing first time in this Zoom. Bandwidth issues are there. Let her join, then we'll start.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
just share your screen.
Oh,
Just share your screen again. And speak slowly so that bandwidth will support. Yes, ma'am. Just full screen. Make it full screen.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now it's okay. Now we can continue.
Okay, I'm sorry, my apologies. I think because of the internet these days, so it's okay. So I hope you've not missed any part, but I was talking about the physiological. I gave an example just to, sort of recap. I was talking about my own, what happened in a particular situation. That's the physiological. The psychological is basically to do with anxiety, fear, anger. These are indicators, symptoms. You have a depression, you feel ego defense mechanism, which is about how do I adjust. I mean, it's everybody has this ego defense, mechanism. So let's say you are more sort of how to insulate yourself in a certain situation. So that's basically psychological. Cognitive is something on the mind part, which is basically your lack of ability to concentrate when you have a stressful situation, because you're thinking about that thought, racing thoughts, worrying too much, and poor judgment. When you're constantly stressed, and so you really make a very poor judgment and decision making. Problem solving is another indicator. You're always which is a little better in terms of the indicator. If you look at the like if you were to give the rating, which is you are taking a full stock of the situation and analyzing the problem and sort of choosing the best to carry out an alternative and evaluating yourself whether did I do the right or wrong. Structuring is a little complex, where you're sort of manipulating the situation in a way that those threatening events don't occur again. So these are basically the indicators of stress. There are also 3 more actually, which is about self-control. Just go back. Yeah, self-control. So you're really it's a little artificial. You're sort of assuming a manner and a disposition which sort of conveys outside world that you are in control or in charge. Then there's a suppression, which you are sort of mindful. Your mind is very strong to sort of put down the feeling out of mind. The other one is more into sort of imagining things. You're in a different kind of world where you're daydreaming and putting aside those unpleasant thoughts as in a different space altogether. So you feel that these are all fulfilled. I have nothing stress. I mean, I've addressed those stress. All right, this is a picture. Am I audible, Professor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you look at this picture, this sort of gives you a kind of graphic illustration of what happens with regard to your performance when you're stressed. So you see, if you see the sort of matrix, if you see when you're on a high sort of performance happens when you have a low sort of stress, but when you're a medium, you need stress, of course. When you're medium, your functioning is optimal. The guy is running. But when you are sort of on a sort of the performance sort of flattens. You're really not good. You're stressed out when sort of we have high stress. So you really have to balance. And when you're low stress, you see, you're calm, you're sleeping. But you really don't have to sleep for a long period. But not always. But you need to maintain that balance when you're stressed. So this is just a graphic. Okay, here comes the connectedness, which Professor Das was talking about, the mind, body, soul connection. Sometimes even when I was I'm on a personal, I'm making sort of into this the whole topic. It gives you a feeling when you hear about mind, body, soul. So the Himalayas and kind of saint. It's not all that. It's all within ourselves. It's really about thinking. It takes time. You really have to spend a lot of time within yourself, that we are not just our thoughts, and it's really more to that thought. We have a sort of we are more toward the sensory experience, like the taste, smell, what we see, what we touch. It's much more than that. We are capable. Our energies are much more than that. And it gives us the identity, actually. So it's really that. So you have to just remember that we are more than just our thoughts and what we really think about ourselves. And it's like there's we are more capable of something. There's much to that, much more than the sensory experience. So that's what you really have to sort of think. And I'm audible because I sort of looked at the whole screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you so simply, I'm not going into like, don't imagine. I hope I didn't ask you that. I should have asked you what was your expectation of the session. I really put together some simple tips of how do you make that connection. Mind, your thought and emotion, the cognitive, the body, the physical, and the soul, which is what we are talking about, which is beyond our thoughts and sensory experience, which is, we talk in today's world, the spirituality. So what are some of the tips, techniques? One is very simple. You really have to look at the picture. The men are temporary, cats are forever. So you really have to bring a lot of humor, laughter in how you everyday situation. You really don't have to don't have to be serious. Because it's not about, when the more serious, you have to be serious, of course, when there's a deadline, when the keep humor alive, crack a joke. It's not like that helps a lot. I've seen that in my personal, in my workspace. I think I'm audible. Am I?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the humor, laughter. The humor and laughter is very, very important in your everyday life. So please, my request, I've seen that impact me, because I also undergo a lot of stressful in my work life, and of course in everyday life, that helps. Yeah, buildings. It's not here.
Ma'am, again your voice
a back seat due to the pandemic.
Okay, so speak slowly.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So this picture is all about the physical connectedness. How friends, we all have social circles, and due to the pandemic, that has taken a back seat. You basically and there are a lot of ordeals. You have to really wear a mask, wash, and all that. So we are all doing virtual, and it has taken a lot of screen time. I know everybody's on WhatsApp, everybody's doing Facebook, and all those things. I'm not a very techno savvy. I know a few things, the social networking. So you do. So you really have to connect with your. So that helps a lot. Social relationships. Even if you are confined in your home, reach out to your friends. That helps a lot. So it's all about that. Meditate. Yeah. So meditate is not about you are doing yoga. It's not about it. But do my request. I'm doing for a while, but also during the pandemic, I think there were a lot of doctors coming on television and telling you, and I'm sure all of you have already sort of taken it into your regimen, everyday regimen. Please, in the morning or whenever you find some time, find some quiet time to yourself. Just have some me time. Be within. Meditate is all about just cutting off from the world and going inward. Just take some deep breaths. Do some I mean, I would not say just do pranayama and all that. That's help, but don't worry about that. Just have some me time, reflect on yourself. That really helps a lot. And that find your mind, body, soul connection. 5 minutes to start with. In the morning, that's the best time. But if you don't have time, no worries. Do it at your own will. But yeah, just cut off from everybody and have some time. Create the habit of deep breaths, which I was talking about in the previous slide. Deep breath. Please do understand, all of us do a lot of shallow breathing, and when you're angry or when you're stressed out, we do a lot of shallow breathing. It is, I've done a lot of courses with some, on breathing and other things. I've understood that, and these are really practical experience I'm talking about it. When you're reflecting on your breath, many times we do shallow, is the short breath. And when you're especially stressed out, angry, depressed, but when you're conscious of your breath and sort of create the habit of deep breaths, and if you do it for 21 days, I bet that would be within yourself. Deep breaths are very important. It helps you a lot, in managing your everyday stress. Exercise. I know you people are sort of stressed of, time constraint may be there, but now I think you should, at this time, you should create a schedule, in which you find 10 minutes, 20 minutes to start with, do some exercise, physical, movement. That helps a lot. It causes a lot of blood flow, and you will find, just do it a 1 day or 2 days, and you see the difference it makes. And this is not coming, I'm not an expert in this. I've heard these people telling, and I've been practicing this, and this helps a lot. Another important thing which we sort of, are not used to, actually I was not used to a lot of in my work life, we sort of take on in everything that we are asked to do, and that really creates a lot of, I think Pratibha, who was saying this, overburden. You're overburdened. And when you are like working in, I know you're working in the, you guys are, know much about it, but in your everyday life, in the corporate world, we are just asked to do a lot of things. You find the mind, body, soul connection, but also learn to say no. I think even in your everyday life, if we are not able to take on anymore, just say no politely, and that helps a lot. You don't have to cause a lot of distress to the other person. Just say no, explain why you're not able to do. That helps. And we really have to help develop the habit. Another important part of our aspect of our life, not just work life, even everyday life, is we don't do a time management. We don't do a proper time management, and I've seen, in fact, I was also doing this morning, we like opening our emails, and, we don't know, we are doing, our tasks are planned in a very haphazard, hodgepodge, I don't know when we are supposed to do. We have to manage our time, schedule your day in a way that, you're very sure what will you do when, and, and do a perfect time management. So that helps a lot. And the picture was all about that, spend time in nature, and this is very important. I know now you might ask me, or you will ask me, where do we find nature? Now everything is building, concrete building. That's okay. But even if you look at the sky, or, everybody has a sky, if you're in the US, it's different. I know, especially New York, you don't have a lot of sky to see because the skyscrapers, big cities in India. But yeah, when you're finding some me time, do spend time with, nature, plants. If you're having some gardening, or look at the sky, look at the bird. Sometimes you have to be very mindful, be very conscious of. There are a lot of things to, which I realize we sort of, ignore. We just, because we are so stressed out with our work and all that, we don't sort of notice. If you start noticing how things, if nature is a perfect balance of everything, actually, you will notice that, there are small things, bird chirping. If you try to notice to begin with, that's also part of nature. If you don't have the luxury of going into spending some time in the woods or forest, do that. That helps a lot in sort of de-stressing, stress busting. Pick a hobby. I'm sure all of you have a hobby which you have sort of, maybe some of you have left it, music, painting, I don't know, flute, and maybe whatever, reading a book, listen to music, a lot of things, So do pick a hobby and do it every day. You really have to have 5 to 10 minutes to yourself, aside from doing the quiet time and nature exploring and all that. That helps. writing journal. It's not about research, but start writing a diary, what you did on the day, what was some striking about the day, So let's say today in the morning for me, when I went out, I mean, I have a terrace and where I do a little bit of me time and walking and all that. It was a beautiful day, if you write. I really, honestly, I felt that today was the most beautiful. Every day is new, actually. So start writing how it sort of resonated with you, what you had in mind, what we were going to do a day, how, and sort of reflect that. That helps. These are simple tips. I'm not giving you like something like, an expert, but these are small things which we really have to inculcate and start doing. And it helps a lot. Believe. Time limit, yeah, screen, the time limit, screen time. All of to a lot of screen time, a lot of WhatsApp, Facebook. We want to see what the other friend is doing. Twitter, and nowadays, I was watching. I mean, I watch the news sometime. I see a lot of hate things going on, and the screen time is so much.
Ma'am, you are not audible again. Hello. Ma'am, you are not audible. Hello. Again, YouTube and net issues. Ma'am is not here in our screen. Yes, he is out. She is out. Just a minute. We'll complete the session as soon as possible, I think. She's joining. Yes, ma'am. You just, hello? Ma'am, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Just
Okay. I'm very, very sorry that because of the internet disruption, I'm getting off in the net, and I'm so sorry about that.
just make your PPT in full screen mode first. Make your PPT in full screen mode. That glass symbol is there, right?
Yeah. So I was talking about this, and this is very important, and all of us, I'm sure you people, I mean, the young people know it all, and nowadays, when you go to any place, everybody's looking at their phone, So of course, I mean, with the internet, with the data access, things have improved a lot. I mean, there's a lot of advantage, but I think there's a very, very big flip side to it. Is a lot of people are spending a lot of time on the screen time, watching screen. it really with all the rays that that's emitted, plus your mental disruption and a lot of things which happen because of lot of exposure to the exposure to the all the social media. And so please reduce your screen time, do schedule your day, and you will see, I bet you will find a lot of you find your productivity increases, you feel much calmer and peacer. And I'm not saying that you don't connect, I mean, do expose. I know now you have to because your online training going on now and a lot of other work you have to do, but if possible, do limit as much as possible. I think I don't have much any more slide to sort of share, but thank you so much for your attention. There were a lot of other things, tips I had, but I thought these were the big things. So at this point, I will sort of stop, and if you have any question or any clarification or any issues to discuss, I would be very happy to sort of engage with you in that discussion.
Yeah, any question from audience side, from any participant?
What may be the effect of reading storybooks or other things? What may be for stress relieving? How reading can help? Can you please tell me, ma'am?
Is it asked by Miss Anaswa?
Anusha madam, yes. Anusha madam, yes.
Yeah. It's a great question, I would say, and I think you and just did, if I understood it correctly, reading, I mean, of your iPad, or you're talking of just reading a book, reading anything like?
Yeah, reading a book was actually what we did earlier, but now the Kindle has come and other things
right.
has also come.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a great question. Personally, I would tell you, I'm not a very fan of reading of the Kindle. I don't have a Kindle. I mean, I used to have, but I don't have phone. I don't want to read. There are people in my family who would love to do that. Kindle is very easy. You can take it anywhere. But for me, the book, because, if the book, reading from the book, if you're reading a good story book, of course, it also depends on what you're reading. If you're reading a novel, which is of your interest, I mean, that helps a lot because you're not exposed. Your eyesight might get bad, but read it. Don't read like, I know that if you sleep and read, it's really not good for your eyes. On a moving like train or something, it doesn't do good. If you're seated somewhere and find some time to read, I would encourage read books. I mean, it helps a lot because Kindle is easy. Book carrying is very difficult. Take a call. What is easy when you're doing certain things? When you're traveling, probably Kindle. But when you're at home, I would say reading book. But if you're talking about newspaper and all that, reading is good. But the impact of the reading, what kind of news we read also affects, you all about murder and all that, that has an impact. So I would not comment on that. But book reading is definitely encouraging. I mean, I would encourage that. Hello? There's a question from someone?
Yes, ma'am. I have two questions from my side. Sure. So if I'm not going to take any stress, then I cannot do my work perfectly. Okay. So then how I can manage that one? And second thing is, if I'm going stress, then I cannot pronounce the word perfectly. Especially the English words, I cannot pronounce perfectly at that time. Everything is going to be wrong. So how I can manage that thing? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, this is a very important question, Professor Das, and I think this is a very practical question most of us have faced. Now, honestly, believe me, just to give an example, when I have to do I used to do a lot of public speaking, like in my job, you just face so many crowds. I have this stress, would I be able to, utter those phrases which I wanted to say? It's with everybody. Now, understand. So first question, if I'm not in stress, I will not be able to perform. I think there's a misnomer. That's why I was saying, you have your job. All of us have a stressful job. If you find some quiet time, do some inner reflection, do some deep breathing, learn to say no very politely. All those things help. I mean, if you sort of, have some personal time to yourself, do some in the morning or, evening, whenever you want to do the breathing, focus on your breathing. What will happen, you will notice if you do it for 21 days, it happens, it becomes a habit. You will see you'll able to better manage. Stress is all about it's not about the job. It's about how you conduct yourself, your emotion, your physiology, so you'll be able to do, so focus on these. I think it will help a lot. Now your second question about if I'm not under stress, I will not be able to, you said about English, right? I mean,
Yes. Second question,
like saying it correctly or whatever.
yes, no. Second question is,
Don't bother. Don't
whenever
bother
I
about
am in
it.
stress, I can pronounce the word perfectly.
When you're under stress, that's your question,
Yes.
right?
I cannot pronounce
When you're not under stress,
Yes.
then on a lighter side, I would answer you better be on stress so that you pronounce properly.
Okay.
But I think that's a very strange question. I think you'll not have it. Don't worry. I would say practice. I know that's not a question. Maybe it's a real question or it's just a hypothetical question. But do practice. Let's practice our English. Not everybody. I think speaking English is just not giving you. We are under the British influence, so English is considered as a standard. Be comfortable. Don't just be just don't be bothered about what people are thinking about you. Or what will they think if I don't pronounce. I think what I see, because I was hearing you, you're your real self. I think that is what is important. So don't worry about speak English, be comfortable, and you are comfortable that way, I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have to say a lot of English, practice that. But just don't be bothered about that.
Yeah.
So, but practice, do some me time and deep breathing. That helps.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else?
Any question? Yes.
Good afternoon.
I have a question.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah, one by one.
Can I?
Yes, Pratibha, ma'am. You can continue.
Yeah. Madam, this is Pratibha from Karnataka. My question is, actually, I heard from an eminent professor that most of the people will not be knowing whether they are under stress or not. Okay. So how do I know that whether I am under stress or not? If there is any methodology to know that we are under stress?
Yeah. There's a great question, Miss Pratibha from Bengaluru. Yeah. Bengaluru or Karnataka, some other place you are from?
Mysore from Karnataka.
Oh, Mysore. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The city of palace, right?
Yeah.
City of palace. Oh, beautiful.
Today that Dasara started, so madam. Navaratri started.
Wow. Okay, so you should not be asking that question now, because now is the time you should be like stress-free, because you still have 9 days, I think. 9 days. I know it's the biggest Dasara festival.
Yeah, 9 days.
My friends, they talk about, yeah. So I think one of the indicator I talked about, I'm sorry, because I had to pace actually the session. One is indicator, notice your breath, for everything. If you know, like let's say you are asked to do something, which is stress. All of us have to do. A new thing, like a job is given which you want to sort of do, but you don't know, like whether I'll be able to. Why are we about stress actually? Whether we'll be able to do it perfectly, whether people, boss will be satisfied or not, whether it will reach the desired consequence or outcome, whatever. A lot of things go in the mind, placing thoughts and all that, racing thoughts. Please notice on your breath. You would know you'd be under stress or not. You'll find you'll have a lot of fast breath. But if you are very, like, you see the breath is like control. The moment you focus, you'll find your breath is the only indicator, first indicator. The other things I've described about pupil dilation, heart palpitation, the output of the cardiac, those are all following that. Please notice on your breath, and you'll find that you're under stress. There'll be a different breath, what is the correct way to explain? The way you breathe, that's very important. You'll find that you're under stress. It's fast, but if you're calm, it will be like slow, and the pulse, all those things, are very slow. So that is one indicator, first indicator, I would say, an important indicator.
Yes, madam, you are right, madam, because I have experienced this, what you have said, I have experienced this most of the times. When I'm under stress, definitely that breathing rate would be high. And when I'm in calm, then obviously the breathing rate would be low. Yes, madam, you are
exactly. And I would say, I didn't talk about it. I do not know how people feel about it. You have heard about this pranayam.
Yeah.
I would say all of you who are attending, pranayama, it's nothing to do with religion, I would say. It's about breath. Yoga has been in, India, many thousands of years, right?
Yes.
And breathing, everything is in this prana. Prana life force. The moment you sort of do the breathing, like deep breathing and anulom vilom, or I can even do some practice. I would not like to do. I don't know how people do it.
There is also one
do
more
that for 21 days.
Scientific pranayam.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So the moment you do, it's proven, and do it, for some time, and you will see that you will be able to manage it better. You'll feel blissful, actually. That's more important. And you will not be under stress. So stress is about what it does. The external situation is doing to your own body and how you're managing yourself. So it's all about how you manage yourself. That's stress. We don't manage ourselves well, and that's why we are stressed. We are bothered about a lot of other things which really don't matter to us, but we are still thinking. And we are a result of, actually, the stress is a result of how we've done to, it's our making, actually. So that's it. Yeah.
So ultimately it is self-satisfaction, right?
Yes, of course. Self-satisfaction, but yeah, exactly. Self, you are very important. You have to identify. You're more than your thought, emotion, your energy. That has, it's much more than that. So you really are sort of the connection, the mind, M, B and S is the connection, mind, body, soul connection is going beyond that whole sensory. So there is something beyond. And most of us don't really, majority, all of us actually, only the gurus and yogi gurus and all have maybe found that, but we've not. We sort of are in a whole race of, competing job, very typical, it's like nothing beyond. We really have to go beyond. And you'll see there's a lot beyond that, we have to transition beyond the mundane life. So,
and what do you say regarding spirituality?
Very well.
Spirituality, will it help us regarding this matter?
Very much. I actually wanted to talk about it, but I didn't, because I don't know how others will feel. Spirituality is actually, it's all about it. Really, and everybody's spirituality will be different. Spirituality helps a lot. And can give you an example. I did some courses actually, and I would not name, because this is not a session. I would say this person or that person. I've done that. And like the courses where you have to sort of fix yourself, through this yoga, hatha yoga, which is all about how you fix your mind, body and soul, So these are very helpful. If you can do, if you have some time, do pursue that. That helps a lot. At the end of the day, actually, that is what is matter. And it will help you do your job with a lot of efficiency. You will be able to focus yourself better, do it like time management. And I mean, you'll see a lot of, it's like miracle. It does a lot of miracle. It's if you have the, liberty and of course, privilege or your time, please, I would encourage, do that. But yeah, don't spend a whole lot of time. Do something which sort of is like you can manage, because if you're like not doing your job, I know, because we have to come back to reality. So spend some time on that, and it helps.
Thank you very much, madam.
Any question from any participants? Any queries?
Yes, sir. May I?
Yes, Priyanjana ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for this valuable session, especially in times like this. Like, we really needed that. And so I am a research scholar. And in that context, I want to ask you, what would be your tips for PhD research scholars? Because, there is this constant stress of this thing we say, publish or perish. It's pretty, it's like an inside joke in between all of like those of all who are researching, they know this. And so there is this constant streak that you have to publish quickly or perish, and you have to have quality papers and do it quickly, fast. Like you just said about the competitiveness of everything. It's corporate world, academic world, everything. So since I'm starting young, and it has been quite difficult for me to, and not just for me, for my contemporaries, for my batchmates, I have been seeing, and after this pandemic, everybody, that's not me, everybody, we have been facing stress, anxiety, depression. Everybody has been developing, like healthy people have been developing so many of this, but of course some stress due to this has affected our work. So I would ask for your tips to manage this kind of situation. Like, what would you suggest?
Yeah. Can I get your name? Anish? No, not Anish.
Hello.
Priyanjana Chaudhary.
My name is Priyanjana Chaudhary.
Yes. And you are from? Okay. And you are from joining from?
Ma'am is from
I'm from
Tezpur
Kolkata.
University.
From
I'm
which
from
place?
Kolkata.
Kolkata. Okay, Kolkata.
I'm
Okay, the city
I'm
of joy.
studying in
Okay.
Tezpur University. I am from Kolkata. Yeah.
Okay, great. Priyanjana, right? Priyanjana. Yeah.
Yes.
One
Yes,
second.
ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Priyanjana,
ma'am.
that's a great question. And I thought, yeah, I really love this. I mean, I had no idea. You said publish or perish. That's a good phrase. I would take it. I didn't know that research scholars have to do that. All of our lives, actually, all of us, actually, whoever is in a job, have that deadline to meet. And yours is more important because you're into research, trying to be a professor, maybe. I mean, I know Professor Das, I'm sure he's also under a lot of stress. What I can say is, I mean, I don't have a magical answer
Yes,
for that,
absolutely.
but definitely, if you practice this, like, don't think 24 hours into that, like competition is there. Every walk of life has that, right? But if you have some me time and do some little bit of breathing and, in the morning, schedule your day, at least, I would say maybe 30 minutes you can spare because you have to publish, I know. If you have 30 minutes to yourself, excuse me, and and doing little bit of breathing, all that thing, I am sure 21 days or 22 days, 21 days if you do, you will feel much relieved. What happens is all this, I'm not talking about, I'm not going over the tips like breathing, like doing little bit of nature, walking little bit, like doing little bit of exercise and all that. That helps a lot. You'll see that your thinking, or the way you perceive your deadline, or that thing about the deadliness of you publish or perish, that whole phrase will vanish a lot. Like, but most importantly, you have to, because you are a research scholar, a lot of things are expected of you. In fact, we all are expecting a lot from you. Investing your parents also, and you are in Kolkata
Yes.
from Tejpur, so I know family and all that thing. But you also have to be develop your skill sets, or competence in that sector. I would not say that just do this, automatically it will come. You have to do that. You have to research a lot, have real stuff to sort of research and publish, do real, what you call, researching and finding details. I mean, you have to invest a lot of energy in that also. I would not, I mean, that's very important. Otherwise, a good piece of research would not come. You cannot publish anything. But at the same time, in a day, you have to sort of, schedule your me time. Do a me time, just cut off and do your own thing, what you like doing. You will find the pressure and competition, I mean, the stress or anxiety you undergo will really reduce significantly. And you'll be able to better and not feel the pressure so much of publishing that, I mean, this is what I can say at this stage. And I'm sure you have to be good at that also job, and you should be able to do, well. But do have some me time and do some little bit of, breathing, and that will help a lot, I would say, And I would like to, if you have, maybe I would be happy to connect with you one-on-one later on to help
That
you
would be
out.
amazing. That would be
And
amazing.
do some real one-on-one, coaching. Yeah. I would definitely help you, and we were in job, it was so different. I can understand. So I can help you in that. Yeah.
Adding to Rakhi ma'am, I want to say something to Priyanjana ma'am. You just enjoy your research. Just enjoy. And whatever challenges are there, you want to publish some good paper, you are finding difficulty to collect the data, you are working on this speech processing, and that is also mental patients, the depression kinds of data you are not able to find. Just take all the challenges and enjoy all the challenges. Enjoy each and every moment of the research.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, nothing is required. I'm going to add with Rakhi ma'am. You just enjoy research. Nothing else is required. Whatever things you are doing, you just think that this challenge is there, very good. I will accept that challenge, and I will find some persons from my department, from Australia, from somewhere. I will find the persons who can help me. Okay, just like that only. Nothing is required. I can say from my experience.
Exactly.
If you are not going to enjoy your research, it will take us done. I have to publish. I have to finish within 3 years. What is the meaning of finishing within 3 years? Ma'am, nothing is the. If we are only in a competition to publish the paper, finish the PhD, like that only. If you are not doing something for our society, then what we are doing? Nothing else. Definitely that degree is required, definitely. But after all, on adding to that one, we also do something for our society. So that's the thing. So do your work properly and enjoy your work. So definitely you will be out of stress all the time. And in quarantine also, you are singing and inside the room also you can sing and enjoy yourself to stress it out. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
That's true.
Yeah, any question from any participants?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any questions from any other participants? Otherwise, we'll stop here.
There are men in this session. I'm not hearing anything. All the ladies are already talking about anxiety and stress. What about the men and the boys? They're all maybe very happy, I think.
I think all men are in stress in their home, and if they're going out of their home, they're not in stress. That's why.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Yeah, we are wired differently. Men and women, they're wired differently. So, but yeah,
men are stressed to ask about stress.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a very interesting comment. Yeah, I think you're right in some ways.
So now I think we can stop here. Then next session will be at 3 o'clock. And Dr. Santipriya Pada will take the class from Switzerland. So thank you, ma'am. Once again, Rakhi ma'am, thank you for your informative session. It was very nice. And definitely, if you can share your mail ID in chat box, so that if any one of us want to contact you later to stress it out, then we can contact
Sure. I would. Sure. I will do that. And I want to say that I was very happy to join you all, and I'm really happy virtually connecting with you all. And it was very enjoyable for me also at this end. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we are now stop the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.